Welcome back. Right now, I have the honor of speaking with Park City High School teacher Melissa Nikolai about a class that she did this past year with incredible results about mental health and wellness. Melissa, thanks for talking with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, before we talk about the class, how are you doing? This has been so hard for teachers, for students. How are things?
Overall, things are okay in that we're lucky to be healthy. We're lucky to have, the access and the training that we've had to, offer whatever we can, and to make the best of this online opportunity. In It just, naturally, it's not the same.
Yes, I can't even imagine how hard it must be for teachers like you to have to overnight develop everything online and then you can't see your kids and it's hard to find out how they're doing. Just a real challenge.
It's just been interesting because you don't realize what you don't know until you're wanting to do something. Like it seems as if Google Meet is a really easy way to connect, but if they don't turn on the camera, then you're talking to a bunch of little avatars. And that can be frustrating because, it's really taking the place of that in class interaction, that ability to, really be in person with someone and reinforce and encourage and remind students exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it and make connections to the previous classes. And it's just their heads have been not fully in the game, understandably. And so it removes the depth of what we've been doing together and then what we did together first semester. But we can only do the best we can, and everybody is trying to do their best, I think.
I know we are all so thankful for teachers like you, for staff, and everyone who really has worked so hard to make this opportunity for our kids work out as best as possible. So kudos to you for your hard work. But I want to ask you about this class. For the time that you were in school this school year, how did it go?
Oh gosh, it's been great. It's wonderful that the kids who chose this class, signed up for it. It was their personal choice, and I really got amazing students, really wonderful kids who were open and curious, and who were willing to really do the work at looking at themselves and looking at their thought process. I learned so much with my students, not just teaching them, but it was really a journey together, understanding, what it was that they really needed. And um, so much of it was about understanding mindset and understanding, you know, that you are not your thoughts, and that if you can challenge your thoughts, then there are some tools of how you can redirect them. And practicing those tools is really more the more difficult thing. It's not so much learning what to do, but it's developing the new neurological connections and the neurological pathways to make that a new reality, a new way of looking at your world. And so it's been really exciting. I can't tell you how much I've loved my students. um, I feel like we were really just getting going and laying down the most important aspects of my class, and then fourth quarter hit, and it just was a huge challenge because like I said, that lack of depth happened, and we weren't able to really have the discussions that they needed to strengthen the connections of what they were learning. But I know that my whole intent was to help them change their lives, help them change how they responded to the world around them, and help them change how they viewed themselves. And I believe that there was success, judging from the conversations I had with my students and from, the final class that we had at the end of first semester. I know that my students took something away that they can use every day for the rest of their lives, and that's deeply gratifying and deeply fulfilling.
It must be. I'm curious about the curriculum. What type of things did you bring in? What activities did you do to really help the students understand mindset and what a difference it makes in your mental health?
We did a lot of articles, reading a lot of articles and watching a lot of TED Talks, and then, taking a lot of notes and then deep discussions on the TED Talks of how does this apply to you? What can you take from it? What can you question? What fits in your worldview or what doesn't seem realistic to you of what this person is saying. I really chose a lot of the well known and well respected voices in the world of socio emotional growth and mindfulness, and just brought that information to them in the classroom. Sometimes we'd watch a TED talk a couple of different times, or reading an article, there'd be a lot of annotating and highlighting, and then the discussions that came from there were really useful. Having them talk about what they learned was so important, and I felt that was much more effective to go the route of articles, videos, TED talks than to take a book. And if this were a year-long class, I would probably do that or pull chapters from a book. But we just had such a short amount of time together that I wanted them every day to learn something new and or reinforce what we had learned the day before, since I was trying so hard to change their neurological pathways. Reinforcement is key.
And this is a new class offered at Park City High School. What type of feedback did you get from students, and do you plan on teaching it again?
Yes, I have 5 sections of classes offered next year that students signed up for, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Students were able to share with me really specifically what they took from it that they're able to use on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's because I stuck with a couple of key ideas and underlying enduring understandings that I wanted them to embrace and to take into their worldview, and just reinforced those from every single angle that I possibly could. And yeah, I mean, kids said things like, wow, I didn't even know I had such a strong inner critic, or it never occurred to me that I could question the thoughts in my head, or I didn't know why deep breathing was so valuable, and now I can feel how impactful it is when I get stressed. And that's just those are ideas and strategies that they can take with them throughout the rest of their lives.
So the main thing I liked about Literacy of Happiness this year was just the sheer amount of knowledge that I gained. Um, it was really easy to know when and where an emotion is occurring. Um, and when that emotion is happening, it's like before this class, I had no idea how to let it go or to harness it. And when you feel positive emotions, it's super easy with tactics in this class to hold on to them, and super easy to be aware of the situation and know that this is a positive feeling. I know where this feels, and I know that I can hold on to this instead of let it get ruined by other negative events that happen that day. And that's just called the negativity bias, which all humans have. And to get over that hump is just such a nice feeling because it's such a different change of pace, and you really appreciate the good thing that comes. Um, and then for the negative things that happen, it's super easy to get down on yourself, and it's super easy to be like, oh man, this is ruining my day, killing my mojo. It's super easy to do that kind of thing, but with tactics, learning literacy of happiness, there's a way to feel that and know where it feels and let it go. And by letting it go, you know that it can't affect you, and you know that this is a bad feeling, but I can just let this go. And so I thought that was really cool as well, because especially for me, it's easy to um, start getting down on myself when things are going my way. So yeah, that was the main thing I thought that was really cool about Literacy of Happiness. If you are incoming sophomore or higher, please give it a try. It's actually really helpful.
Hi, I think that my favorite part of Literacy of Happiness class this year was just being able to know that I'm going to use this information for the rest of my life. And like classes like math and science, I'm not just going to learn the information, memorize it for a test, and then forget it a few weeks later. Because this information is helping us deal with real life issues, and it's helping us cope with our stress and anxiety during high school. And especially with teenagers, mental health gets to be a really big problem because of all the stress we're under. But it's so nice to just be able to go to Literacy of Happiness class, and we get to meditate and we get to journal, and it's really just a safe space where we're able to talk about what we're going through and just know that you're not going to be judged for anything that you say. And I really think that Miss Nikolai is probably the best person to teach this class because she's always so positive and she's so honest with us, and she just allows us to be whoever we want to be in the moment. And it's honestly so nice to just be able to go to a class like that during high school when everything is super stressful.